I think the project it has been very successful. We had a lot of good experiences. We had a lot of good pilotings. The experience of teachers, our teachers, the teachers that have worked with us, have given a lot of good information about their experiences, and we got a lot of different, diverse experiences. Experiences with students in a formal secondary school, students from a diverse context, and I think we got a lot of good information, and we have made some changes in some context. I think this is important and this is nice, but it also remarked to us that there are new steps that we have to do. Steps that are around our teachers, help them to support them to do this kind of techniques and implement them in the formal education. Knowing that even if the technique is non-formal, you are still working in formal education. The content is important, but you can do content with this kind of techniques, listening to students, leaving them to speak each other, to express their emotions and so on. And also it has remarked the importance of giving more supporting to our teachers.
I think they are going to be really nice to continue implementing because I assume that my students get better abilities when dealing with the subjects that are taught in schools, and as I like to be a teacher for my students and not for me and not for the system. I believe that everything that is good for them is good for their education.
I've been working with 3 years with my students. I have 20 students in my classroom, so I've been applying these techniques about for 1.5 years. So they just improve their ideas to support their ideas, supporting their ideas, and they learn how to collaborate each other. They learn how to collaborately. So they are learning. They respect their ideas, and they're listening to their ideas. And when they learn one information, and they are sharing information with each other, and they are building up their information for the better outcomes. So because of the reasons I planning to apply these techniques in the future too.
I think it's connected to the result because, like, for example, in France we have one, it's connected about empowerment of the student because, like, we have some example of some students who try like one method, the 6 hats, and after they went to the council with the parents, with the teachers to explain. Okay, we had a reflexive learning process, and we want to improve how do we learn in our class, and we are involved to go in this process. So I think that's really powerful, like, the engagement of the students and how this kind of method can facilitate this engagement. And we have also, like, at the end of the year, it was like some student came to see some teachers to ask, can you do again one petal debate, because we want to speak about that and we are not agree with that, and we want more explanation because it was one decision about, like, the close code, and they said no, we are not agree with that, we want more information and we want to express yourself. So I think this is really powerful, and for me it's one of the definition of empowerment, and I think that's a good result for Carma.
My conclusion is that I prefer to work in a small group because in this way I have the chance to teach face to face. We are teaching in a group, we are working together, and yeah, I think this is the right way that we teach in a small group about and take these Carma methods in a small group.
I find non-formal methods great, and my experience, I am a special needs teacher, and as a teacher, I use this kind of teacher. I have often used these methods because you can't use traditional methods with problematic people, students. And so I find really nice and useful and pleasant. And also the students find them funny also. I would like to be able to use also with the entire classroom, I mean with normal students.
For me, what I learned most of it is when we learn the techniques, I often thought I already do a lot of that, it's not new for me and everything, but being together for a week in Palermo, now 2 days with teachers from other countries, I learned that challenges that I have in Belgium are the same in Spain and in Italy and everything. And it's really interesting to see how different teachers from different countries solve the problems and try the same techniques in not only maths but also geography and every different kind of course. And it's interesting to see that there are so many different teachers here and we face the same problems, but with the techniques that we learned, we have a lot of opportunities to learn how to cope with it. And
yeah, I think for me the first idea will be like because in France it was two different ministries since more than 50 years ago. It was like the Ministry of Youth and non-formal education and a Ministry of Education, national education. Now it's mixed since 1 year. So like let's see what will happen. But the idea of to think about how collaborative learning and how like the method can help the formal education to make the student more involved in their learning process, more aware about how do they learn and what do they want, and to be like really here and not just receiving some learning. I think like that's something to think and to like do a lot of communication on that, because it's also sad the reputation of the national education. It's quite bad right now. If you discuss in the street in France, it's the teachers and the national education. So like just to also say, we want you also to be involved as teacher, as parents, as students, because like that the school will be better.
I would like to change the national assessment system, because national assessment system is defined in our teaching method, because I mean in this assessment system we have to give the children a lot of homework to make a lot of practice, because they need a lot of practice to prepare for these exams. So because of that things, we cannot have enough time to making activities in creative ways, in the creative and appropriate ways. So we we are doing a lot of practice because of the exams, because of the national assessment system.
attitude toward teaching, but also the attitude toward learning. Learning is a right before to be a due.
For me, the biggest opportunity was in Belgium. I do a project called co-teaching. So we teach in a big class with 2 teachers, and it's really helpful to do the non-formal techniques with 2 because you have more management of the students. You have more eyes to see them. You have more ears to listen to what they have to say. And I would say that that's something you can push a little bit. Make bigger classrooms with infrastructure of, for example, couches, so you can do more RMA sessions and everything. The opportunity for 2 teachers to teach together, to learn from each other and everything. So I think that infrastructural and structural, we need more changes to do this better.
I would like that more people can be teacher. Not teacher training and training and training, when everyone who likes to be a teacher should be to work as a teacher.
First of all, I think the coherence in a law is basic. Trying to make coherent the preambles of the law, where we say that cooperation is important, listening to each other is important, and not putting in the end of the law the standards and the evaluation in a closed perspective, and not thinking in real competencies in people, that people are behind our education, and also the supporting of teachers in the communities of teachers and in the centers. It is crucial to go into the principals, in the direction teams, in order to try to get the change to the unit of change, and the unit of change is definitely the center.
What would I change? Well, okay. First, the situation of the teachers, which are not a good situation, because we are not really recognized for what we do. And then, if we feel better, of course, many more from my colleagues would be better in their jobs, and so they would give their students better situations and better environments of learning. But of course, I would implement those non-formal techniques and others that exist in education that sociologists and pedagogical people are studying. I would implement different things to teach them, because the curricula is not so necessary. We have to teach and we have to help people to grow up effectively and healthier than what they are growing right now. That's my position.